Welcome to Boxing During Dinner. Good week. We have 2 episodes. And I don't know which one will go first.
This, I believe, isn't first. This is number 70, I've been told.
I've been told that too. So we'll go with 70. But David, big weekend for boxing this past weekend. Abner Mares taking on Anselmo Moreno, Chemito. And it was kind of what fans expected, David, because a lot of fans coming into the fight expected Anselmo Moreno to come out, start running, and use that backpedaling technique that he has, which he uses to his credit. He uses it to his advantage. But it was an odd fight because I thought it was an exciting fight. Yep. It was probably one of the more exciting fights I've seen this year, and at the same time, it was a dirty fight.
It was interesting. Ahead of the show, I had told you that I felt like this was a brawl with gloves on. It was bizarre in a couple of sequences, and Mares ran into the same problem that he always does. Literally ran into it by coming in with his head full steam, forward. That's the first thing coming in. The punches follow afterwards, and Moreno, to avoid the headbutt or whatever, pushes the opponent down. Low blows come after. I mean, there were 3, 4, several more probably than the 4 that I'm saying out loud right now. Of Abner Mares' low blows. There were a couple points taken, a knockdown of Moreno. I expected a lot more out of Moreno. In fact, I thought if he had used his jab and counterpunching, he could have won this fight. I thought that going in, but Mares bullied him the entire fight from bell to bell, rushing in and attacking him with body shots and a little bit of everything. I mean, the guy threw, I think, hit 1,000 punches that night. And he's relentless, and that's been Abner Mares' MO, and again he used it to his advantage and won the fight. And
before we continue, we are at Randazzo's Little Italy here in Coral Gables, Florida, sure. Miami, Florida. If you guys want to come and visit, this is the home of Boxing During Dinner.
They've got Christmas lights up already.
And the good thing is that they will not low blow us.
No, they will not. They will not Galata or Mares you. Yeah.
Great food, but David, you mentioned that Moreno, does have that style that he pushes down his opponent, which was true in this fight, and led to some of the low blows. But with the Agbeko fight and now this, do you think the whole low blow stigma is something that's gonna follow Mares the rest of his career?
I don't really, because he manages to win fights. Fans are still big supporters of his, and so far he's been penalized for it, but he's never been DQ'd for it. In that one fight, the first one against Agbeko, he probably should have, but it's never really come to his disadvantage in any other scenario. And until there is a real dramatic, scene outside of that first Agbeko fight, I don't think it's going to come to his disadvantage. It's how he fights. He happens to land a few every once in a while, but a lot of them are seen as because his opponent's pushing him down.
Right.
Until it becomes blatant, I don't think it's an issue.
Now, I think he won this fight. I don't think it was 120 to 106,
no.
But I think he won the fight. Do you think this catapults him to superstardom? Because some people were saying that, now Mares is a superstar. Some people were critiquing him, saying he's still not there yet.
Until he loses, I think he absolutely has the right to be mentioned, among the best at 122 to 126. He's been calling for Nonito Donaire, and I can't think of anybody else outside of Guillermo Rigondeaux more deserving of that fight. And let's see what happens.
Now,
probably won't happen.
In the world of the Twitters, as the
sure.
youth calls them Twitters,
the
right?
Youth.
The youth. Oscar De La Hoya said he'll walk from LA to Las Vegas
to make the fight happen.
Sure,
he will.
All of a sudden, I see some funny tweets from some of our fans that watch Boxing During Dinner with the hashtag Walk for Mares Donaire, and them saying how they're gonna walk from California to Las Vegas. Some people are saying they're gonna drive there. How do you foresee that fight? Because if this fight proved anything, Mares could get hit. And he was getting hit against a guy who was moving around. Donaire doesn't move much. I mean, Donaire's going to be there, and he's going to be swinging, and he hits hard.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think
it'll be an exciting fight.
For sure. I think it's a fight that Donaire wins, but I don't see Bob Arum in any circumstance putting one of his guys in with somebody else when he can continue to just mint check after check against top-ranked household guys.
And Mares, who's a really risky opponent. And now you mentioned Bob Arum really quick. And then we'll get back to the card. Jose Ramirez, the Olympian, comes out and shocks the boxing world by signing with Top Rank instead of Golden Boy.
I know.
Now, I was there for two things that led me to believe that he was going to sign with Golden Boy and then with Top Rank. The first, we spoke to Jose Ramirez at the Golden Boy Promotions offices. and it looked like he was a virtual lock. Now, months later, right before, like a couple months later, right before the Olympics, we're talking to Bob Arum, and Bob Arum keeps talking about Jose Ramirez, what a great fighter he is. I'm here trying to sell Bob Arum on Joseph Diaz, who I think is a great fighter and is going to be a world champion. And, aside from Ramirez, and he kept on mentioning Ramirez, and I was with Jesse Lozada at the time, and I told Jess, I think Bob Arum's going to try to sign Jose Ramirez, and he did. Do you think that's to his advantage, or do you think, it's a wash either way? He's going to be a star in boxing.
I think that Bob Arum is a shrewd businessman, and he knows, number one, how to make money for Bob Arum. And I think he absolutely, was in the right to try to pursue a prospect like Ramirez, who is, you can never blue chip stamp somebody and say they're going to be a world champion, but I believe the kid will be. And kudos to Bob Arum. We dislike him for one thing. But he is respected as the biggest promoting agency in the world for the other reason, which is because of the first. He's a shrewd businessman, doesn't make the best fights that we always want to see, but he keeps all of his talent in-house and does what he wants to do with it. And until that model stops working for him, he's going to continue to have that power to get talent away from De La Hoya and the other promotional agencies.
Absolutely. And, but De La Hoya, to his credit, still has some talent, which we saw on Saturday. Leo Santa Cruz is one of them.
Yeah.
The guys look great in his last 3 fights. Did it against Zaleta on Saturday.
Yeah.
This kid can't be considered a surprise anymore. He may be the breakthrough boxer of 2012.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that 100%. In the last time we saw him fight, I called him a mini Margarito because of the output, the combinations, the angles, the uppercuts. He's a brutal body puncher. And Showtime was not, and speaking in hyperbole, when they said he may be the most competent body puncher in the sport of boxing, and he's 24 years old. There's an argument to be made for that. He, in addition, making that Margarito comparison, but the guy has defense as well, and he's relentless. He's got the punch output to keep things exciting, just like Mares does, but he's far more refined.
He definitely impressed the 30 Showtime announcers that were calling the fight.
Yeah,
all 98 of them.
Every single time they brought in somebody else.
You know what it reminds me of? Naked Gun, when the Angels are playing that last game, and they go to the booth and there's like 10 people, even Dr. Joyce Brothers. That's what it reminds me of.
Maybe there's an opportunity for the boxing during dinner.
Maybe we'll be like the 8th and 9th person.
Yeah, exactly.
Alfredo Angulo also fought on the card, and this is like a Hollywood script. The guy spent 8-9 months in a detention center for immigration issues. Comes back and knocks out Raul Casarez in the first round. Obviously not a household name, but it proves that Alfredo Angulo, one, he still hits hard as shit.
Yeah.
And 2, that I definitely want to see him fight Canelo Alvarez.
He's must-see TV. You put him in with anybody. It doesn't matter who he fights. He's going to put on an exciting show.
I want to see him fight Canelo because he could test his chin. We could finally see if the guy can take it or not.
I think there's a lot of 54-pounders who can test Canelo's chin. Let's keep in mind that Canelo really hasn't fought a 54-pounder ever, in my eyes, and that's another story. But
I heard he was going to fight Finito Lopez next.
Yeah,
out of retirement.
I believe it. But I like that one. But I want to see Angulo in with Kirkland again. I want to see him against Canelo. I just want to see him fight, and I'm glad that he's out. I think the dreadlocks are awesome.
I was about to say that. I love it.
He looked like the Geico caveman before he put him into dreads and everything like that.
Did he look like Teen Wolf?
Yeah, exactly. He got hit a little bit too much for my liking, but again, that's always really never been his concern either way.
That's what makes Angulo exciting.
The guy likes to get hit. He doesn't care. He'll dish, take it to dish it, and kudos to Angulo. You saw the emotion of that moment evident on his face and his expression after the fight. It's awesome to have a guy like him back in the ring.
Also, Saturday night, HBO had a great card, and possibly one of the fighters that made the biggest impression on the boxing world, and he's shown it time and time again, is Mikey Garcia.
Yeah.
And Mikey Garcia is now ready to fight Orlando Salido. Salido was injured, the fight couldn't be made, so he fought Jonathan Barrows, and he dominated. Mikey Garcia, under the tutelage of his brother Robert Garcia, one of the better up-and-comers, contenders, non-champions in boxing today.
Yeah, 120 to 126 is a great range, and Mikey Garcia is an awesome fight at his weight class at 126, and I want to see him take on just about anybody. I was excited for the Salido fight. I can't wait to see it come off this time. Barros is no pushover by any stretch. I mean, that guy, he started as a street fighter. that was where he became, a boxer. It wasn't, just some blue chip prospect or anything like that. So, he's a gutty guy. I think he needed to do everything possible. He used that left hook to take the fight. And he's got a little bit of everything in his arsenal. He adjusts when he needs to. And Mikey Garcia is a complete but still improving fighter.
Erislandy Lara against Martirosyan.
Yeah.
Ends in disappointment. I mean, how disappointed should the fans be? Because I know a lot of people that were hoping to see Lara come out and dominate this fight, possibly knock out Martirosyan or make a statement, or vice versa. Some are Martirosyan fans, and neither did what they had to do to show why they deserve a shot at Canelo Alvarez.
I agree. I think Erislandy Lara has Chad Dawson syndrome, which is all the gifts in the world that he, for some reason, doesn't utilize. He doesn't push the action. He doesn't initiate the way that he should. Every time that Lara initiated, and he's a beautiful defensive fighter, just a true joy to watch for a pure boxing fan. The problem is that the output is not to the liking, obviously, of the judges, because this is the second fight that he ended up in a draw, and then if you add the Paul Williams fight that he lost on paper, he's obviously doing something wrong, according to the eyes of judges. I think that he's won all three of those fights, and some people may disagree on that front. But, I mean, when you outland a guy more than 2-1, you won the fight.
Yeah, but at least the Paul Williams fight, I mean, he dominated that fight.
Yeah.
This fight, even though he outlanded Martirosyan, not saying that he lost the fight, that it should have been a draw. It's just he didn't win overwhelmingly.
Right, and that's the knock on Lara. All the gifts in the world, literally all the gifts in the world. He's probably one of the two most gifted fighters at 154 pounds. I think you can make that argument. But gifts do not equal wins if you're not utilizing them, and that's been Lara's MO. Unfortunately, doesn't put his foot on the gas, and it cost him.
And you mentioned gifts. The other day I was having a weird conversation with someone.
This sounds weird.
How pissed would you be if when you were born they would have brought you myrrh and frankincense?
Well, I would have been the Lord and Savior, so I guess that's got to be something good.
Well, before we go in this episode, and there is more, we just need to cut this episode. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, our good friend Sam Cohen, the class of 2013 inductee announcement is on January 12, 2013 in Deerfield Beach at the Hilton Hotel.
Yep.
And Boxing During Dinner, we're going to give away 2 tickets. They're each priced at $50. I mean, this is no...
$100 value. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame always has some really big names.
And you have cocktails, open bar at 5:30.
We'll see you there.
6:30 buffet dinner and announcement. At 8 o'clock, an amateur show, and slated to appear are Buster Douglas and Pinklin Thomas.
That's awesome.
Yes, former undisputed heavyweight champion Buster Douglas.
for a little while.
So go to our Facebook page. We're going to be posting some sort of trivia question. The winner gets the tickets.
Yep, it'll be awesome.
And you must live in South Florida unless you're going to fly here just for that.
You could if you want to. And I guess we'll see you in a few minutes.
Yes.